If you're ready for freedom from the grind, then passive income from real estate investing is the best way to get you there. If you don't know where to start or what to do next, then the Rent Roll Radio Show is the best place to get you there. Join us while we discuss the best practices, strategies, and mindset you'll need and give you actionable content to get you from where you are to where you want to be. Hey, Rent Roll Radio listeners, welcome back to the show. As always, I'm your host, Sterling Chapman. Today, we are joined by Nneka Jenkins, who is our fourth female interview in the last 48 hours. So I was just talking to the previous guest that I interviewed. Y'all were all referrals from my friend Mandy McAllister, and so it just so happened that the fourth lady in a row that I've interviewed. So all of October, it's going to be all women all October.
Oh,
so that was cool.
That's pretty fitting. So that's good. Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I love that. Good for you.
Yes. Awesome. So welcome to the show and thank you so much for joining us. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Oh, yeah. So Nneka Jenkins, I'm from San Francisco Bay Area. I'm a mother of 6, 4 of them biological kids, and 2 of them, I never like to say they're stepkids. I don't like that word. I've been in their lives for about 15 years. So we do have...
Bonus. Huh? Is it bonus kids? Is that what they call it?
I don't even like that word. I just like to say I have 6 kids because I've been in their lives long enough. They call me Mama Neck. I love them and I don't think they're anything different than my other kids. So it's just a hard thing for me because I never want to take away from their mother. But, I've been a part of their lives and I love them dearly. So our kids range from 21 to 8 months. So in the last, so we've been at this real estate thing hardcore for the last 4 years. I've been licensed for 6 years. I was part-time for a couple of the years in the beginning. And then I finally decided to bet on myself and I went full-time. My husband pushed me to do that. It was the best decision we ever made. And then we retired him out 2 years later. So we run a team. We have our firm, Onyx Wealth Realty, and it's been amazing, but we're done having kids now. And I'm in this stage where I feel like a renewed energy because I've sold more real estate pregnant than not pregnant. It's been like a joke. So the last 7 years I've been nursing or birthing babies. And I think that I'm excited because what I was able to accomplish in the 4 years, it's limitless what I can do with none of that happening, even though I was able to accomplish a lot while pregnant. So it was kind of my superpower. So I'm curious, nervous, and scared, but I'm excited. And then while we've been doing that, we've been really, really aggressive on investing. Probably we had a lot of people in our lives that would tell us like, oh no, don't get that. We bought something March 2020, right? When we went into into COVID, right? And literally we're closing like the first week of the shelter in place. So I don't know why, but we just knew that it was a good idea to do some of the things we've done. So we've got several investments, a couple of syndications, and I'm very happy with them. And the fact that we always planned on holding them for a while. So this market doesn't necessarily scare me as a potential seller because we baked that into our plan. But I'm excited to talk to you because I know you do a lot more and we're trying to get into more multifamilies. We have one multifamily, the rest are residential and then syndications. And we're trying to get more into multifamily and then eventually really dive into commercial. So yeah, my husband and I do this together. We have a very supportive family. I believe leverage is the only way to succeed. And I'm just here trying to learn from the best.
Awesome. That is a very enthusiastic elevator pitch. I love it. So kudos to you for doing anything besides having 6 kids. Because you make me feel like a sissy because I whine about my 2. Your kids have got to be better behaved than mine. That's the only thing I can think of.
You're good kids, but we just have a lot of great help around us. Let's just say that.
That's awesome. So what did you guys do before?
Great question. I was we were both in corporate. I was in medical devices. So I worked in the operations side and dabbled into the R&D space with medical devices at a company called Stryker. actually. And then I left them to go to one of the vendors I managed. I managed about 85 vendors while I was there. And I left to go to one of the vendors. And they were Versatile Power. They've since sold, but they're still operating. Great company. Honestly, I cried when I left, but it was the right move, but I loved it there. I truly, truly loved it there. And then my husband, he worked for a telecommunications company, and he had been there like 13 years, I think 12 or 13
Which
years.
one?
Harmonic.
Okay.
So he was at Harmonic for a while. And yeah, I mean, he liked it. I wouldn't say he was like passionate and loved it like I loved what I did and where I was at, but he was fine and he was doing well there. But we decided it was time to bet on ourselves. So I like to say we have no jobs, right? Like we're literally just operating off of what we buy and sell. And we helped about 154 families last year. So about 174 million. So we do a lot of business, and I love what I do. I literally am so passionate about the deal and helping people get generational wealth or build generational wealth. And I love educating people with that. So yeah, it's been a good transition, but we were fine and stable before.
Awesome. I see that so often. Like I'll see like people that'll like fail out of certain industries or like get fired from corporate jobs, and they're like, well, I want to go be a realtor, or I want to go be an insurance agent. So like, if you were lazy and you sucked over there, like you're going to be lazy and you're going to suck over here. Like it takes considerable amount more discipline to be successful in 100% commission environment, right? You need like a lot of impulse control there to like regulate your daily schedule, regulate your spending, force yourself to make the phone calls after you got rejected 87 times in a row and want to cry. You know what I mean? Like, and so, a lot of times when you hear people are like, oh, I had this corporate career and I just, this successful corporate career, and I gave it up to, like you say, bet on yourself. And it was like, well, I mean, the same exact traits that made you successful over here, we're going to make you successful over here. That's great. I love hearing that transition story. Tell me about your investments, start from the beginning. What kind of investment? You said residential, so I'm assuming single family rental properties.
Yeah.
What do those look like? Are you buying them in California? Are they not astronomically expensive over there?
No, it's very, very expensive. But I'd like to say I feel like it was expensive and it always has been, and it's only gotten more expensive. So we got in at a good time, right? But I wish I got in 10 years before. I wish I got in 15 years before. There's one thing I'm going to teach my kids. I don't care what they do. I want them to be themselves and be happy, but they will have a property by 18, maybe even sooner. They will have one, like their own property, because it's just, I know we're spoiled here in California, but the level of appreciation and just the buy and hold strategy, you can't go wrong. It's like stock market. If you're trying to just trade and all that, yes, that's risky. But with real estate, for the most part, a buy and hold strategy you're going to be okay, withstanding even one, maybe two recessions. You'll be okay. So let's see, what was the first one? The first one was our own property that we lived in, right? And I was not licensed at the time. I did all of the things I tell my clients not to do. I did them. I was the worst client possible, but I learned so much from that, especially from the realtor that helped us what not to do in her case and what to do. So it was cool. So we lived there. And I can't even say that I had this idea of like, this is what I want to do. I'm going to do this and we're going to remodel this and da-da-da. But I think let me put it like this. My husband is VA. So we had the VA loan. It took some random realtor driving in the middle of the street to randomly, basically kind of door knocking, right? And randomly say to us, hey, that you guys have a VA, like as we were talking, because I just said, oh, we're renting, whatever. I had no plans of buying. She said, you have the VA loan, you can get a home with 0 down payment. Long story short, I ran back into the house so fast. I was like, why didn't you ever tell me that you... He literally never told me about his VA loan. Never. He kind of looked at me like, oh, yeah, I have that. Okay, we're buying like tomorrow. So that started the wheels when we were renting. The wheels started turning of just, okay, well, we have an opportunity to get into this market, a market I really never thought we could, right? So we're in that space. We decided to start renting out our bedrooms in that home. It was a 4-bedroom. Yeah, we showed on income, we could afford it and all that. But most people, if they looked at everything, they'd say, you shouldn't be in a 4-bedroom. We needed it kind of for the 2 kids we had at that time. We didn't have our own kids yet, but we really didn't need to be in a $2,500 property, like 4 bedrooms. You know what I'm saying? But I knew, okay, we can rent out a couple rooms, especially when our 2 older girls were not with us. So we started saving up money that way. When she drove in the street and told us that, we had a plan. Within 6 months, we were like, we're going to do something. So we did that. And then when we bought our first property, I literally, the agent told me this, I will never forget. I'm looking at all these properties. I'm like, oh, I like this. I like that. She goes, you can't see any of those. I said, why not? She said, well, you have a VA loan. And I looked on MLS. She was a new agent. I'm friends with her, but she was a new agent. And she said, you can't buy any of those because only 3 of the 60 homes that you showed in your $600K budget, only 3 of them will take your VA loan. The anger I feel now understanding that, but everything happens for a reason, because what she was essentially saying was, hey, I looked on MLS and where they put the type of loan they'd prefer, but nobody likes, right? Nobody likes a VA loan. And I get it, especially here in California, they really don't like it. But what's driven my passion in my business is allowing people that are VA or low down payment the ability to buy with it and not be looked at like it's like, a scarlet letter.
Why do they not like it in California?
Great question. So out here, they're putting a lot of money down, right? And there's a lot of competition. So if you have 15 offers, yes, I know the market's slower right now, but let's just talk in general. If you have 15 offers on a place, what seller is going to take that one offer over here, even if it's the highest, that's putting 0 money down?
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, as somebody who sells houses a good bit, not like as a realtor, but like selling my flips, like I'll of course take a cash offer over, I'll take a lower cash offer over a VA or an FHA. And it has nothing to do with how much they put down. It's just the stringency of the underwriting and the, you know what I mean? And how picky they can be. And, you know what I mean? And so I wanted to close.
So you're absolutely right. And what you just said there is another key part. What people, especially newer agents, inexperienced agents, I was one of them, but what sometimes they don't understand and therefore they cannot translate or educate their clients is that the contingencies, even if you put a VA loan, even if you put down payment, even though you don't have to, and you say non-contingent, which means you're going to buy this house no matter what, or you're losing your earnest money, right? We all understand what that means. Even when you say that, the VA, the government has a stipulation that if that home does not appraise, that VA buyer can walk. So you're not trumping that with any contingency release. So for those reasons, they don't like us here. But when you have an educated realtor, someone that's passionate about it, I have gotten more people into VA than most agents because it does take more work. It does take more educating of the client. It takes more strategy, more negotiation tactics. But I have gotten even up to $3 million offers accepted with little, 0 or nothing down, and educating both sides on, hey, I know we have this government imposed thing to protect us here, but we're going to close on this, and getting more things in contract.
VA loans go up to $3 million.
So that's the interesting thing. Yeah, I was shocked by that too. I've done it 3 times now. So the way you have to think about it, and please, anyone that's a lender, and I say this wrong, don't kill me. I'm just doing my best here, but I stay in my lane. But what I've realized is you have the VA loan and then you have VA limits. So in certain areas, the limit is higher. In California, it's pretty high. So you get to put 0 money down up to that limit. Anything after that, and if you qualify, at least before, it might have changed, you have to put 25% down of that delta amount. So if you're going to 1.5 and the limit, you see what I'm saying? Here's the thing, the $3 million one of them was our own purchase that we just built a house and did that. And then 2 others were 2 other clients. And what I didn't realize is there are very few lenders that will let you go even as far to 3 million, still do a VA loan. There's a lot of like caressing and smoothing and all that, but it can happen. And we've done it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that they even went that high. I can't even fathom what
the payment is.
What the payment is and what your debt to income has, like what your salary has to, and I guess you don't have a salary if you sell houses for a living, but like, I mean, I've bought millions and millions of real estate, but it's always like in this commercial environment where nobody really cares about our true debt to income type of thing. But for VA, FHA, like traditional home buyers that aren't doing all this other crazy commercial stuff that I'm doing, like, I always think of their limitation being their debt to income. And, everybody, I mean, top tier around here makes a couple $100,000 a year. And like, what can that really buy you? A $500,000 house. So I guess I always joke, I had partners so I'm in South Louisiana, and, we're not the richest state in the union. And my partners on my apartment complexes are in New York, and they're always trying to push us to do 506C projects, which you have to be an accredited investor to participate, meaning you have to have a net worth of $1 million, or you have to have a $200K income, or $300K as a joint married couple. And they're always like, let's do a 506C so we can advertise. I'm like, look, I know they pay the dog walkers in New York City $200,000 a year, but like very, very few folks down here like meet that criteria. And I assume it's probably similar in California where y'all are just.
I think that was the big flip. I had this flip from a scarcity mindset to a more abundant mindset. And one of the key things was me realizing what you just said. There's so much wealth out here. There's so much money out here. It's disturbing, unbelievable, and crazy. One of my first deals, they sent me their proof of funds, because out here, you're not buying a house without putting proof of funds in front of that seller. I'm talking bank account. I want to see it. The date better be within the last 30 days. I want to see your name on it. It's competitive, so they can do that. And I remember seeing one, and this guy made $1 million as his base. And he was in sales. So therefore the commissions were about 50% more, if not more than that. And I just remember talking to my husband and thinking, oh, I've been thinking way too small here. I know where my heart is, and I know what I want to do, and I want to educate people. I want to help people build wealth, all of that, no matter what they make, right? That's literally what my company is built on. But I realized I was thinking way too small. And once you flip that, you're helping your sellers, you're helping future investors, people that you're educating. So, I just had to realize that not everyone was living paycheck to paycheck like I was. That was a huge shift. But I apologize. I know I went on a tangent, but to wrap up what you were asking me, the VA loan enabled me to get that first property. But what I did was realize, okay, the bank just gave me a $600,000 property. We put, honestly, I think on that first one, even though we could have put zero down, they wouldn't accept our offer with zero down. The property was crap. The agent literally stopped even caring about actually marketing it. And we put, I think, $20,000 down. And, there were no other offers on the table. We offered 605. I think it was listed at 630 or 6 something, whatever, right? Which is rare in this market, but it was sitting on the market for a while. And so when I got that, I remember just feeling like I'm so blessed to have been able to get this. I mean, I was literally running to sign my papers before the bank changes their mind. That was my mentality. I couldn't believe they were going to give this to me. So when we were there, I'm constantly looking at, okay, what can we improve, whatever, for our sake of living there. We had our first child, we had our second child there. And my husband, had a man cave and all of that, but I was constantly looking at ways to improve it. Long story short, we put maybe $40,000 into it. And about a year and a half in, I was pregnant with our second child together. So our fourth child together, but our second child, me and him. And I remember, I remember just saying to him, it's time to go. And he was pissed at me. He will tell you he was so mad at me. But something in me just said, we've updated this property. I'm looking at the market. I had just gotten my license, while we were in there. And I remember just thinking let's go, let's sell this thing. If we could have kept that property then and got the next one, hands down, we would have done it. But financially at that time, we couldn't. It was the worst decision and best decision. Why I'm here with several properties is because we sold it. But I look online, and I mean, within less than a year after we sold it, it went up another $100,000. Yeah. So in 17 months of being there, we made about $117,000 profit. And at that point, I was hungry. I was like, oh yeah, we're about to do this more and more. So I used that strategy of like, I'm going to use the bank the way the bank uses us. And I'm going to use the bank and get into that property as a primary residence and rent out the next one. So when we moved into the next one, we were committed that the next one after that, we were going to rent it out. So we now have 5 residential properties. One of them I won't say inherited because of the laws and stuff, we didn't want to move it into my husband's name, but one my husband's family owned for about 30 years. And we took that on and we converted it to a duplex and made it into an Airbnb. So we've done this 3 times. We took a single family home that we bought. We found a way structurally to put a wall up or separate it, made 2 entrances, essentially made it a duplex without having to like formally go to the city and make it a duplex. The lot is big enough. We built a house in the backyard. So on one lot, we pretty much got 3 properties.
But in order to sell it, would you have to update the code or whatever?
Great question. I hope people on your listeners don't crucify me, but the truth is that here in California, in most markets, and most as competitive as they are, as long as you're disclosing, there's plenty of properties being sold and there's no, like, for instance, there would be no permit for the fact that it's a duplex. Now, could I take the wall out and just make it a single family, whatever? Yeah, but I don't even have to take the wall out. There might be a buyer that likes it as a duplex. There might be a buyer that likes it as a single family. It's so competitive, they can take the wall out themselves. If I disclose it properly, we're fine. Now, here's the trick. When the appraiser comes, especially if it's a really, 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 when the appraiser comes to appraise the property, if it's one of the top 5 banks, right? Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, PNC Bank, Citibank, whatever. If it's one of them, they're going to be a lot more strict about, hey, appraiser, you better appraise it versus what it shows on title record, meaning as a single family home, meaning that some of those broker lenders that might be great for someone putting less than 20% down, they might be a lot more lenient, right? And so they might say, yes, I have to appraise it as to what it is. But I also see that there is another income stream here. This house in the back is bringing in income. That might subjectively cause their appraisal value to be a little bit higher. But on paper, they're appraising it to what they see. So you see a lot of properties, especially in Alameda County. And I'm in Santa Clara County. I live in Santa Clara County, but I do a lot in like Oaklandish area, San Francisco, and then here Santa Clara County, like San Jose, Santa Clara, Mountain View, Sunnyvale. And you'll see a lot of properties that have no permits or unknown permits, and they're selling at the same rate, market value, if not more, because people, as long as it's built with a contractor and it's habitable, they can still make some money off of it.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit of, is that your multifamilies that you were?
So we have one true multifamily in Kansas City that we just got about a year and a half ago. It's a 4-plex. And then
Awesome.
we have others. We have a syndication. So we have one that's like a 60-unit building, and that one of them is in Kansas City. So we have that. But I'm interested in getting more multifamily that my husband and I own, and maybe even do a syndication.
So are you a general partner on the syndication, or did you just invest passively in the project?
I invested passively a good amount in 2. Yeah. So we have not done our own syndication. That's something I'd love to get into.
People always say, I want to be on the active side like you. I'm like, well, I want to be on the passive side like you. I'm just hustling because if I had a big pile of money, I'd invest it all with you,
Totally. Grass is always greener. I'd love to know your side a lot more.
So, what is your thoughts on the market, obviously, but how it pertains to your core business of being a realtor, right? So you said you helped 154 families last year. Like I would imagine transaction volume has fallen off a cliff. What does that mean for a realtor?
It's a great question. This year, so we're at September, we are at about 98 million. So last year was 154 homes, 174 million in sales. Right now we're at about 98 million closed. And that translates to, I honestly don't know off the top of my head, but it's 90 plus home families. So we'll probably close under last year, which will be technically our first declining year. How does it translate in the market? There's less people willing to buy right now. They're scared. But then the other part that people don't get about California, and why I don't feel we're going to fall off a cliff, we don't have inventory. We literally have had an inventory problem for 3 or 4 years consecutively.
Well, and that's everywhere.
True. That's true. I can only speak to what I see here, but I think that because of that, even though we've got people scared, I still am running with a lot of buyers and I have a lot of sellers. Sellers are harder right now because they're expecting last month's price.
Sure.
You can barely expect last week's price. Like, you better hurry up and sell and be grateful for what you get, because it's not getting better and in the short term for a seller.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I can't even remember. I've had the same conversation with like 5 different people today. So I can't remember we talked about it, if I was talking to the last person about it, but it's so true. And I mean, I am on top of my guys that are, dragging my rehabs out. I'm like, y'all don't understand.
Yeah.
Like this house should have been listed 2 weeks ago. And they're just like looking at me like, oh, what's the big deal? I'm like, it is a big deal. Like 2 weeks ago is a different environment. We need to get it on the market yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a big proponent of waiving the inventory shortage, the supply side of the equation flag for months now. But seeing the friction in my own house sales, I've got to concede a little bit to the demand side of the equation and go, all right, well the rates are just. They're just flat out pushing buyers out of the market, and we're.
It's scary because I'm having conversations where it's like, hey, I know I want a home in this city, and here's my budget, 1.4, right? And then I'm not kidding, in 2 weeks, in a month, it's like the homes like that I wanted to buy. I mean, I can literally afford 1.1, 1.2 right now. Their purchasing power is just going down the drain, and it's scary for them. So they're either going to have to reset what they want, or most of them are saying, I got to wait. So they're banking on, no, I need to wait for the market to fall another 200K, another 300K. Yes, this market will fall a little bit more, in my opinion, my humble opinion, right? I don't know that it's falling that much in some of these markets. And so it's a thing where I'm not interested.
Well, it'll fall as the rates rise. So your payment's going to be the same.
And that's the level of education that I love doing, but it's exhausting to do it at the level we're having to do now. And so I'm shifting my focus to, I'm in no way, shape, or form wanting to convince anyone, even in the slightest bit. I've never had that model, because that's a horrible escrow. And I'm looking for a good review at the end. So I'm not going to convince. So I almost am now backing off and focusing on only the people that like, yes, we get it. It sucks right now, but you still want to do it because you understand the long game, period. That's who I have to focus on.
Yeah, absolutely. Something else I just picked up on, and sorry, I'm jumping all over the place.
Oh, you're good.
You had mentioned your fourplex was it Kansas City?
Kansas City. Mm-hmm.
That's a good bit away from California. How did that happen?
How it happened is we met a friend. He's now a friend, and he actually was considering selling one of his places. We kind of convinced him, talked to him about, no, don't sell it, like hold it. And he got into a lot of syndications personally, like with some friends. And so he was doing a lot of stuff in Kansas City. What I told my husband is, I'm really good at what I'm good at. And that's here in California. It's buying, selling, investing here. I don't have the bandwidth, especially with all the baby making. I don't have the bandwidth. Sorry, that sounded horrible, but you know what I mean? I don't have the bandwidth to go outside. So when we found someone that was doing a lot of it and we knew we wanted to invest outside, I always told him, unless you're flying out there every other week or something to truly understand, we need to tap into an expert there. And he had I'm talking 10 properties in like a mile radius of where we were looking at. So we always told him, if you see something that you would buy, come bring it to us, right? This is why relationships matter. That's why I love talking to you on this, because you see things that I'm not going to see. And I don't want to become the expert because it will drive me insane. So when we did that, he had a fourplex that needed a lot of renovations. And then he had a really good bank relationship. So that was really easy too, much easier than any loan I've ever gotten here in California. So we just kind of said, whatever, let's make it happen. I think it was how much did we spend? $290 something thousand. It's probably worth closer to $5, maybe more. I don't know with this changing market, but it's renting out just fine.
What are the rents? What rents are you getting?
Gosh, see, now you're quizzing me. Each unit, I think it's 1,100 to 1,500. So I think two of them are like 4. Is it good? Okay, good. Because
that is good. We make fun of California money around here because we see California money come in, and pay an obnoxious amount for these fourplexes in the most terrible part of town that are getting like, I've seen people come in and pay $300,000 for like a fourplex that's getting $680 a unit. And like, the cops don't go there in the middle of the day. You know what I mean?
No, would you tell me though, for real, would you tell me if I made a mistake?
I would. Those rents sound like, that sounds good. I mean, you just off the top, you're well over the 1% rule, you know what I mean? So I'm sure you're cash flowing fine. And I mean, anywhere where you're getting 1,100 a unit, you're in a tenant class where you probably don't have to worry about like really high turnover and really rough abuse of the property.
Totally. Yeah. No, that's what we wanted too. I wanted to stay away from that because the headache for me would be too much. Here, look,
long distance.
Long distance. Exactly. So I've literally never seen the place. My husband has flown there a few times, but I told him from the beginning, I don't want to take that on because I will obsess over it. Right.
Sure. Well, that's awesome. So I want to hop over to our radio round just to give our listeners a little glimpse at you. It's just 3 quick questions. The first one is, what's your favorite book?
My favorite book is Purpose Driven Life. I read that when I was super, super young. I probably should read it again, but it just,
Who wrote that?
Have you heard of it? The Purpose Driven Life?
I've heard of it. Who wrote it?
Oh gosh. I don't know. I could Google it. I have no idea. I will look that up and tell you, but I really, really like it. It has nothing to do with real estate. I probably should say a real estate book, but I don't have a favorite one off the top of my head.
I've had people say everything from like the Book of Mormon to like The Young and the Restless, or some fiction book. You know what I mean?
Well, I am Christian. I guess I should have said the Bible. So don't.
I've gotten that one 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess like my original intention when I created that question was a real estate book or a business book, but I didn't ask it that way. And this far along in the game, I just don't want to. So I just kind of leave it open to however people want to interpret it. The next one is, what's your favorite quote?
My favorite quote is, "To whom much is given, much is expected." I think about it often. It drives me to contribute in every way, shape, or form. It means a ton. And then I've also, at real estate related, I really, really like, and I use often, I'm going to butcher it, but it's Warren Buffett. When people are greedy, be fearful. When people are fearful, be greedy. It applies so well to this market right now. And if anything, my husband and I'm even more aggressive with what I want. It's just about what the plan is, right? Buy and hold is something that's dear to my heart, and it works right now in this market. And if you can sell it, great, and you make a profit, but plan to hold it a little bit longer.
For sure. And what's your favorite thing to do when you're not working? I don't imagine between the 6 kids and the multiple businesses that you have a whole lot of not working.
You're right. But I have to say, full disclosure, I have such a supportive and involved husband, and we're very blessed to make a good living and be able to have help. My mom is with us right now for a month. She had surgery, but she helps often. His mom helps often. You're going to laugh, but I can be a bit of an introvert. I know it doesn't seem that way, but I can.
I don't know about that.
No, I really can. So the way I think about it, or the way, I can get drained by too much human interaction. And my sister makes fun of me because she's like, "You're in the wrong freaking business. Like you have a ton of human interaction all the time." So I love it. I love people. I love helping people, but it drains me because I give so much. I'm very energetic. I literally can't do coffee. This is just natural. So what I like to do, don't judge me, is I love my Netflix shows. I love a movie. I love documentaries. I love Dateline. That's what I love to do. And if I can do it with my husband, which he loves it, probably he's not as obsessed as I am, but when I can do it with him and we're just there, when you can just coexist with someone, right? You don't have to talk, you don't have to do anything, but they're just there. Live for it.
Awesome. How can our listeners get in touch with you and learn more about you and work with you?
Best place.
You.
Yeah, best place would be Instagram. I have started to get into TikTok because I feel like I have to. God, everyone's just like TikTok, TikTok. So whatever. But I love Instagram. So it's at Homes by Nneka. And it's HomesByNneka. Homes at Homes by Nneka on Instagram. And TikTok, actually. Twitter.
How many people follow you on the TikTok?
Ooh, like 0. Honestly, I think it's like less than 500 on TikTok.
I've got like 40.
No, Instagram, I really, really like. I really like Instagram. I have a good amount of followers there. 14,000.
How you get 14,000 followers on Instagram?
Yeah, I don't know. And sometimes I have this habit where this is the introvert in me too. I know I need to be on video more, and I love it. Actually, I hate being on video, but I love Instagram, and I'm trying to do that more. And so you'll see sometimes where I'm on it a lot, and then a week you won't see me at all because in my mind I'm like, if I'm sick of seeing me, other people are very sick of seeing me. So I just like
I hate posting like myself and my videos and stuff, so I don't do it. There's a lot of posts of me talking on videos, but what I'll do is I'll just record it all. Like there's something about like posting it. Like I feel uncomfortable. I feel like corny. I don't, but I record it all. And then my marketing guy, he'll take it and he'll like put in all the stuff and then he'll post it. And for some reason it's like, I don't know. It's so weird, but it doesn't bother me because I'm not the one posting.
Totally, because isn't it like a vanity thing, right? You kind of feel like, put myself out there. So I'm with you there. I do like my stories myself and some posting, but for the most part, I have a marketing person that does that too. And it feels better. Like, if I'm going to annoy people, I can just say, with somebody else.
Yeah. I mean, I don't post that stuff.
I don't know. I didn't know he was going to post that much. Yeah, I did. It was actually part of the plan.
Well, it was really nice to meet you. I'm glad we got to chat, and I'm glad we got to get to know each other, and definitely look forward to keeping up with you on your journey.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.
This episode was brought to you by Crestworth Capital. If you're a busy professional and ready to make passive income from real estate investing, then go to crestworthcapital.com, where you'll be able to download a free copy of our ebook to help you get started today. Until next week, happy investing.